Cataclysm will soon come to an end, and instead we can get to enjoy the Mist of Pandaria pre-patch. And here there's going to be many things to be looking forward to, especially the changes that I will be covering in this video. First off, we're getting far more island scenarios. This is going to be a short 3-man instance, or well, a scenario where there's going to be different things you will have to complete. As you complete these things, you'll then move on to a new stage where there's going to be other things you'll have to take care of. And usually at the end, or well, at the final stage, there's going to be a boss you will have to defeat. In this scenario, you will also receive a limited item. As an alliance player, it's going to be a tabard, and this tabard you can use to place a banner on the ground. This is going to be a pretty unique and limited item to be getting your hands on, and something I'll definitely be getting myself, especially because usually there's not going to be a use effect on a tabard. As a horde player, you won't receive a tabard, but instead the mini mana bomb. This will cause a small explosion after a few seconds, but it doesn't do any damage, it's just visual. And it also has a 3-minute cooldown, just like the alliance item. So if you like to collect limited items, then you should definitely participate in this event. What else should we be looking forward to? Well, maybe the new race, Pandaren. You can play this race as both factions, so it doesn't matter if you prefer to play as Alliance or Horde. You sadly won't be able to play as all the different classes, but talking about classes, then we're also getting a new one, the Monk. The Monk is absolutely insane and something you should definitely try yourself, even in the pre-patch. You can play this as most races beside Goblin and Worgen. So if there's a specific racial or look you prefer on your Monk, well, then you can pretty much also choose whatever you like. But what racials will you receive as a Pandaren? Well, you'll earn twice as much rested experience compared to any other race. Your cooking skill is going to be increased by 15, and when you're getting the stats from well feed, well then you're also going to get double the amount. You're going to take half the amount of fall damage, and there's going to be a 2 minutes cooldown where you're going to CC the target for 4 seconds. This CC will however break if you or anyone else decides to do damage to the target. A big change this time around is that we can get to enjoy this new race and class in the pre-patch. In original Mist of Pandaria, it wasn't the case, so you're able to reach level 85 even before all the new content will be released. As a monk, you're going to be using leather gear, and you can play as a healer, tank, or a melee DPS. On my channel, you can find a more detailed guide about this class, their spells, and many things to be looking forward to. So if you're interested in this new class, then make sure to check out the channel. In the pre-patch, all Valor points will now also be converted into Justice points, but don't worry, all the old gear that used to cost Valor points will now also cost Justice points. This is going to be absolutely insane for those of you that needs to gear up an all character, or those who managed to get a monk to level 85 in the pre-patch. Then you can use this gear in Mist of Pandaria to get to level 86 and 87 a bit quicker. When you're at the different quartermasters, it's also going to be easier for you to find gear. You can for example choose bind on equip items, but you can also choose your current specialization. So if you need to find tank gear or something else, well, then you can simply browse through the items a lot quicker. The pre-patch will also introduce the new talent system. Instead of choosing a talent every level, you will now have to choose this when you get to level 15 and then every 15 level. So level 30, 45 and so on. And you can only choose 1 out of 3 talents. And these talent trees will always look the same, no matter your specialization. When it comes to the glyph tree, it has also changed. Prime glyphs has now been removed, so instead you will only have to choose 3 major and 3 minor glyphs. And there's also going to be many new glyphs to be looking forward to. The spellbook will also change. Instead of having to browse through many different categories, all of these will just be on different pages. And if you wish to see what you can learn in future levels, well, then you can also see them. You can even see this for other specializations. For example, if you were going to play as a holy, you can see what spells you would unlock at certain levels, and this is also the same case as retribution. And talking about specializations, some spells will also be gated behind one of these, so it's not like you can play as a feral druid and unlock all the different abilities as you would get as a restoration of balance. And talking about the specializations, you might also have noticed that there's no longer going to be a feral specialization only. No, you can now also choose to play as a guardian druid, where your bear form is going to be a lot better, and you won't really be able to do decent DPS as a cat form. If you would like to do damage as a cat form, you will instead have to choose to play feral, but if you decide to do so, you won't really be able to off-tank. In Cataclysm, it's going to be your last chance to get yourself a head enchant. In the pre-patch, these will no longer be obtainable, or if you have obtained the items, you will no longer be able to perform the enchant on your headpiece. As a hunter, you will no longer use a melee weapon, as you will have to decide between a melee weapon or range. And I mean, you're always going to be using a ranged weapon as a hunter. Another change to the hunter is that you will start to focus on getting expertise, as your attacks can now be dodged. Yeah, we're talking about your ranged attacks, so it's no longer just going to be important to focus on your hit. Another big change is that there's no longer going to be a minimum range, so you can use all your ranged attacks, yeah, even when you're standing right on top of the target. This is going to be a big change, as you'll no longer need to start running away all the time. There's going to be many different class changes, for example, shamans finally being able to start running and casting the lightning bolt at the same time, or different talents that makes classes able to also run and cast spells at the same time, yeah, even as a mage. All these class changes I've covered in different videos you can find either on my channel or in the description below this one. What about professions? Well, there isn't going to be many changes beside in description, where there's going to be new items you can craft. For example, a new staff that is going to be amazing as a transmorg. So if you're looking for big profession changes, well, then you'll have to need to wait for Mist of Pandaria. However, in original Mist of Pandaria, we also had to wait for the new pet battle system. This time around, Blizzard has decided that we can get to enjoy this new feature in the pre-patch. You can use the pet battle system to complete different quests, unlock new achievements, and of course also capture new animals. You can use the pet battle system as a way for you to level up your characters and also your pets that you can sell on the auction house to make gold as you're leveling up your character. Or you can use these pets at level 25 in Mist of Pandaria to complete new achievements and unlock new things as well. All classes beside hunters will no longer be using a ranged weapon, such as a gun or even a throw. Instead, you will find a throw ability in your spellbook, and this is how you're going to range pull as most classes. As a shaman, you will no longer need to focus on getting yourself a relic, and this is also the same case as a paladin and even a druid. In addition to this, a wand will no longer be a secondary weapon, instead it will be a main hand, equal to, for example, a sword or a dagger, and it will also provide a high amount of stats. In PvP, there will be a nice new feature where you can exclude 2 battlegrounds from the random battleground finder. For example, Warzone Gulch and Eye of the Storm if you don't like the battlegrounds, or if you have already got all the different achievements. Now you can sign up and it will exclude these battlegrounds. In the pre-patch, all your conquest points will also be converted into honor, and all the older items that used to cost conquest points can now be purchased for honor. This is also going to be a great way for you to gear up a fresh level 85 character or your future monk. The last PvP changes I would like to highlight is that there will be a new stat called PvP Power. What it does is to increase the damage you do to players, their pets and minions, and also increase the healing you do in PvP zones and outside. There will of course still be PvP resilience that will reduce the amount of damage you take by players and the minions and pets. Therefore, it will be so important to focus on these stats and also getting 2 PvP trinkets, as this now provides you with a bonus that increases your PvP resilience. What about leveling up? This is also going to be easier. Every time you level up, you will now also learn your spells automatically instead of having to go to a trainer. What's also quite amazing for farming gold and leveling is that when you loot a nearby creature, you will now loot all nearby creatures instead of having to do this individually. This is going to be absolutely insane for leveling, but also gold farming, as you can now save a lot of time when you have to loot all the creatures. You simply just loot one of them. The dungeon journal has also been updated. Instead of just showing stuff from Cataclysm, you can now also see dungeons from Classic, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and of course also the upcoming expansion, Mist of Pandaria. Talking about dungeons, some classic dungeons will also be revamped. We are talking about Ragefire Chasm, Scarlet Monastery, and Skullomance. There will be new loot in here, and also new bosses, and even a lot of new mechanics to be looking forward to. And if we're talking about Scarlet Monastery and also Skullomance, then these will also be turned into a level 90 heroic. So you could practice these in the pre-patch, or simply just enjoy them when you're going to level up. When you're going to do these dungeons, you'll probably also notice another change. If you die, you won't be able to release Spirit and run into the dungeon again to help your people, or hopefully kill the boss. No, you'll need to wait for all your party members to either die, or simply for the boss to be dead before you'll be able to release. Else you have to pray for combat res. When you're going to create a new character, you will probably also notice another change. There's going to be new animations and also backgrounds, for example different main cities and areas from the game. So these are some of the changes to be looking forward to. In Mist of Pandaria there will be a lot of new things to also be looking forward to. So if you would like to know more about those, well then make sure to check out one of the videos I will post right here. Or check out my channel for a lot of other Mist of Pandaria videos, and in the future I'll also release a lot more. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.